Hello, Stampers. I'm Kelly Acheson at AStampAbove.com, coming to you from a beautiful Menasha, Wisconsin. Today, I'm going to be sharing a technique with you that is part of my online technique club, and it's called shadow stamping. So fun and easy. I think you guys are going to love this one. I hope you give it a try. We are going to be using the Botanical Beauty background stamp. This is one great big stamp. And I'm going to combine it with the Spring Corners, another great stamp set. Let's flip the camera around. We're going to get started. I'm going to show you all the tips and details that I have learned about shadow stamping and how to make a really pretty card. And then I'll tell you about my online technique club. Hang tight. Okay, you guys, we are going to be using Botanical Beauty and the Spring Corners. Like I said, I've got a pretty peacock stamp set here, as well as a white craft pad. We have the pretty peacock and gold metallic ribbon. This is 3/8 of an inch with that gold fleck in there. Also, the adhesive backed dragonflies and birds. We've got two different kinds of birds here, and then some little dragonflies that are gold. The nested essentials for our label, and then I'm going to bring in one of the elements from the Flowers of Beauty dies, and of course any little element will work in here. I just wanted some type of little sprig. So I think what we're going to do here is we are going to do our technique right away. So I'm going to grab one of my piercing mats, and then I've got some printer weight paper here just to protect my piercing mat. This Botanical Beauty is a background stamp, so it's all one great big stamp, and I have this mounted on a size F acrylic block. So to do this technique, we're first going to bring in a layer of a lighter colored cardstock. This is Lost Lagoon. You could use crumb cake, you could use a light gray, even up to a little darker gray would work, just kind of a lighter color. So to do the shadow stamping technique, I am going to take my white ink pad and I am going to get my background stamp all inked up. Now you could use individual stamps for this. I just like having all of these image with one application. It just makes it so easy. So let me I'm going to grab another piece of printer weight paper. I'm going to watch my positioning of this 4 by 5 1/4 inch Lost Lagoon sheet on here. I'm going to put it right over at the side where my images start. And I'm just paying attention to where this is located on my big background stamp. Now, if you're using photopolymer, of course, that is a clear rubber. You can see through that. That would work great for shadow stamping too. And since this is red rubber, it's a little trickier. But I want to make sure that you know how to do it with this type of rubber. So here comes our white ink. And I know that this lays right down on here, and that's very important for the next step in our shadow stamping. You're going to grab your chamois or some baby wipes or whatever you use to clean off these big stamps. And I like to use baby wipes just in case I get some ink down in between in the recessed rubber areas. I can make sure that I'm getting all that white ink off of there. It cleans up really nice. And now I'm going to take my pretty peacock. This is a very dark color. And I think you're going to find that you get a bigger wow factor when you go from the white to a nice dark color. So we're going to ink that up. And now I'm going to bring this right back in here. I took it off this way. I'm going to bring it back this way. And I know that I had just a couple of these little dots down here, and I had it way over to the side. So now I'm going to move it a little bit further to the side and just a little bit up. And we're going to pray that we have this positioned good, because we can't really see it. But as long as you're kind of paying attention when you use that white, where you're placing it, when you use that white ink, this should work out really good. Let's pick this up and see what we have. Oh my gosh, look at that shadowing. You can see where that white is shadowed underneath. Now, ideally, I would have liked to have gotten this a little bit closer, but this still really shows off that technique. And I think it's just a really cool look. Gives it a lot of depth. Okay, now we're going to work the rest of our card. So I'm going to ink this up again with the Pretty Peacock ink so that I can stamp on my envelope. I love to have, oops, I just got a little bit of ink on there, but that'll be okay. I love to have matching envelopes for my cards. I'm going to take this envelope and I'm going to bring it right over here. I've put my printer weight paper in here so that I don't stamp the whole back of the envelope, just the flap. I'm going to press this on here. We'll bring this layer in so we don't get ink all over our fingers from that part that isn't covered up with our envelope flap. Let's see how we did here. Oh, doesn't that look pretty? Look at how fun that is. Now I see that I'm missing. This wasn't really big enough to do the whole flap, so I'm just going to ink this up again. Right over here on the side, and this time I'm going to bring this background stamp in and put that paper back in there. And I just want, hang on, I got to get a hold of this. I just want to stamp a little bit of this edge down here so that it doesn't look like it was forgotten. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So, decorated envelope. And again, I would just clean this off with a baby wipe. I've heard some people like to wash these underwater. You should never do that with a red rubber stamp. We have foam in here. And if you do that too many times, your foam is going to get saturated with water and you're going to ruin your stamp. So baby wipe or your chamois will work just fine cleaning this up. All right, let's finish up our card. So like I said, this particular card, here, let me turn this over, is part of my online technique club. We've got Pretty Peacock. And a bone folder is missing. Let me grab another one here. I don't know what happened to that. I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish that edge. This was 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. And then we're going to be using 2 basic white pieces that are both 4 by 5 1/4. And we need to stamp up the inside. So one of these is going to be for the inside. One is going to be for the front. So I think what we'll do here is we will grab the spring corners. And this says, thank you for everything. So we've got thank you for everything. Now I've just mounted any old stamp over here in the corner. And the reason why I did that is because we've got a lot of blank space over here. It would be easy to get ink all over my stamp or my block here. And this is going to keep the stamp upright. No ink on this additional one. It's just a great way to balance the stamp right over here so that you don't dip it in the ink and then get it onto your card. Balance. It's just for balance. Then I'm going to grab this little corner element from the spring corners, and we're going to stamp that with the same ink right over here in the corner. And I just think that adds a lot to the inside of our card. And we can adhere that right in here with our multi-purpose liquid glue. This is my favorite adhesive. It goes a long ways. And it gives you that little bit of wiggle room so you can move this around for just a little bit before it sets up. It makes it a little easier. If you get it crooked, you can still move it. Next up on our front, we're going to take our shadow stamping technique layer and that remaining basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, by the way, this piece is, this was 4 by 5 1/4. This is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. You can find all of the dimensions for my cards on my blog. And I'll pop that across the screen right here so you can, that's my blog address that's going right across the bottom. Look at how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? So you can always look up my blog address. Whoops, hang on. Push that. There we go. I kept pushing the wrong button. All right, then ribbon. Here it is. What I decided to do here was just take a piece of ribbon. We're going to run it right down here across the end. So I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors. I keep a set of my snips. I have 2 pairs here. One has a ribbon tied to it. That is only for cutting ribbon, because you guys know that when you cut paper, it dulls your scissors. If you keep one pair that's only for ribbon cutting, you will always have super sharp scissors to cut that ribbon perfectly. That's what I like to do. I'm just taping this on the back. I'm going to take a little piece of this ribbon now. We're going to do like a faux bow. It's just a single knot. And by doing it this way, you have less bulk in that knot that won't cause the problems with the post office and little bumps and lumps, right? So I like to do these. I'm just going to cut this off at an angle. That looks great. Now, I wanted to add a little something to the front here. So what I did is I pulled in my nested essentials. I'm going to grab the smallest and the second smallest of these for a little sentiment layer on the front of my card. So, oops, hang on, I dropped some layers back here. I am going to grab a scrap of white and also a scrap of Pretty Peacock. The larger of these two, rounded rectangle on the Pretty Peacock, the smallest white one on, the smallest rectangle on the basic white, and we're going to die cut those. And then along with that, we have this little element that we're also going to just die cut on a scrap of basic white. So when we have those all done, here's what we're looking at. So I'm going to grab this sentiment from Spring Corners in Pretty Peacock ink. It's going to look great right in the middle, and it says, "You brighten my day." We'll add that to the next nested layer. And we're going to pop these up on some dimensionals. I like to use my Take Your Pick tool to pop those backs off. And before we put that on our card front, we're going to set this in place. So I know that this is going to go right here. And I'm going to bring this in and add it right in here. So I'm going to glue this down. I'm just going to put a few dots of glue on here. This doesn't need to be completely secured. It's a little overkill. Totally not necessary. Bring that in right about here. Let that set just a tiny bit, and then we'll bring in, I'm worried about this because this looks crooked to me. So there we go. I just needed to slide it a little bit. We're going to bring this in right here. Make sure that's on there straight. Oh my gosh, right? That's a cool technique back there. And we'll add this to the front of our card. And last but not least, I'm going to bring in one of these gold dragonflies. And I'm just going to pick that up and set it right over here. Now we have a beautiful card with a matching envelope, and this uses the shadow stamping technique, which I think is really fascinating. Now, the other thing about my online technique club is that you also get a sample of the technique on an instruction sheet. It's got the basic instructions just to help you remember how to do this. And you will always find a date with a link to my blog saying there is a video for this technique on July 2nd, 2025. So you're going to collect a whole bunch of these cards being in my online technique club so that when you sit down and start creating, you can go to your library of all these little cards that you have and go, oh, I'm going to try out that shadow stamping technique because this is going to be great with the stamp set that you picked out or whatever the case may be. What are the details? The details of my online technique club are that you need to place an order once a month in my online store. You're going to choose me as your demonstrator for that order. It has to be $25 or more, and you're going to do that for 6 consecutive months. That is your obligation to be in the Technique Club. And at the end of that 6 months, you're going to let me know that you have fulfilled your 6 months. There's a rewards form that you fill out as you go along with your order numbers and your order amounts. At the end of your 6 months, you're going to submit that to me, and I will send you a gift for your loyalty in the program. But more so than that, you're going to get this every single month. You're going to get Happy Mail that includes your instruction sheet and the card with the technique. Now, to find all the information on here, I am going to put a link right under this video that'll take you to the details for my online technique club. And I've had lots of people say, well, I'm already a demonstrator or a discount shopper with Stampin' Up, so how can I participate? You can participate just like anybody else. You're going to place a minimum $25 order in my online store that one time a month. The rest of your orders you can do through your own account to get your discount. Even if you're on my team, same thing. One order of $25 a month is going to keep you in this online technique club. So you can take advantage of all the fun, all the ideas, and get some happy mail every month. Also under this video, or actually right up in the right-hand corner, this link is going to take you right to this blog post where you will find the names, the colors that I use, the names of all the products, the dimensions for the card that I made, more photos so that you can recreate this if you choose to. It's completely up to you. But I'd love to have you in my technique club. Please don't forget to click down here in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm not sure if I'm pointing the right way because my screen is kind of backwards. Bottom right-hand corner, please click down there to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss anything I have coming up. One more thing before I let you go. We have some brand new online exclusive products that just dropped July 1st. So you are going to find this flyer on my blog, and you can take advantage of clicking on the link and going to the online store to see all the new online exclusive products. You will never see these in a catalog. They are exclusive to online only. But you can also print out this flyer so you can keep track of all the new things. And you can put check marks on it that you got this or you got that. But look at all these new items that we have. There's a scan on the very last page. You can hold your phone up to that. Whoops. You can scan it and go right to my store and shop with me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to earn your business. And thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me. Bye-bye.